In front of 10 neighbors, my own daughter slammed the car door shut, leaving me standing alone in the heat. She smiled cold-heartedly and told me I would only get in the way of their luxurious family getaway. What she did not realize was that I held the title to every single asset making that trip possible, and my next call would change her life forever. Standing on the burning asphalt, I felt the piercing stares of 10 neighbors who watched the scene unfold with stunned silence. My own daughter, Sarah, reached out, slammed the passenger door in my face, and looked at me without a trace of remorse. She claimed there was no room for me, and that my presence would only ruin the atmosphere of their annual summer getaway. As the 3 sleek cars rolled out of my driveway, leaving behind a cloud of exhaust, I remained perfectly calm, walked back inside, locked the heavy front gate, and dialed my real estate attorney. My name is Arthur, a 62-year-old retired contractor who spent nearly 4 decades building a comfortable life through hard work and disciplined investments. After my wife passed away 6 years ago, my primary focus shifted toward ensuring that Sarah had every opportunity to succeed in life. I funded her university education, purchased her first vehicle, and even made substantial contributions toward her husband, Mark, launching his small consulting firm. I never asked for grand gestures of gratitude or financial repayment, hoping instead that my generosity would foster a close, loving family bond that would endure throughout my golden years. Over the last 2 years, however, Sarah had gradually changed, becoming increasingly entitled and obsessed with keeping up appearances among her wealthy social circle. She began treating my modest home and quiet lifestyle with visible disdain, often making subtle, hurtful comments about my working-class background during family gatherings. When she proposed a massive family vacation to an exclusive coastal retreat, I foolishly believed it was a chance for us to reconnect and create lasting memories together. I quietly paid the entire deposit for the sprawling oceanfront villa, intending to surprise her and Mark once we arrived at the location. The morning of the trip, my driveway was filled with high-end vehicles belonging to Sarah, Mark, and several of their affluent friends whom she had invited along. I had spent hours packing my bags and preparing homemade snacks for the long drive, genuinely excited to spend quality time with my daughter. However, when I approached Mark's car with my suitcase, Sarah stepped out, grabbed my bag, and unceremoniously set it down on the pavement.
In a loud, condescending voice that echoed across the neighborhood, she informed me that the vehicles were packed to capacity and that having an old man around would only dampen their spirits. The entire neighborhood seemed to freeze as she declared that I should stay behind and guard the house instead of dragging them down. Mark sat in the driver's seat, staring straight ahead without uttering a single word in my defense, while their friends snickered softly in the back seats. Rather than arguing or causing a scene in front of my neighbors, I simply nodded, stepped back from the vehicle, and watched the 3 cars speed away down the street. The moment their taillights vanished around the corner, my sense of hurt morphed into a crystal-clear realization that my indulgence had ruined my daughter, and it was time for a harsh lesson. I calmly walked back up the driveway, secured the front gate, and walked into my home office to pull out the master file containing my real estate records. I called my longtime attorney, legal representative, and real estate management team, directing them to initiate immediate actions regarding the properties held in my primary trust. Not only did I own the oceanfront villa they were currently driving toward, but I also held the primary mortgage on Sarah and Mark's suburban home. Furthermore, the luxury SUV Mark was driving was registered under my commercial lease agreement, which I immediately revoked with a single signature. 7 hours later, Sarah and her group arrived at the private gates of the oceanfront estate, fully expecting a week of unearned luxury and relaxation. Instead, they were greeted by armed security guards and a local sheriff officer who blocked the entrance to the property. When Mark attempted to use his keycard, the system flashed red, and the lead officer informed them that the owner had canceled the reservation and flagged the primary vehicle as an unauthorized rental. Panicking, Sarah frantically called my mobile phone, screaming in confusion as her friends watched her elite image crumble in real time, but I kept my voice entirely even. I told her calmly that since I was only going to get in the way of their trip, I decided to streamline the arrangements by removing my assets from their vacation entirely. The estate was locked, the SUV was towed away on the spot, and a formal eviction notice for their residential home was delivered to her inbox that very evening. Sarah broke down in tears, begging for forgiveness over the speakerphone while her stranded friends scrambled to book expensive last-minute hotel rooms nearby. I hung up the phone, finally understanding that true respect cannot be bought with endless sacrifice, and spent the rest of the evening enjoying the peace of my own home. True respect is never earned by enabling cruelty, and sometimes the greatest act of love is allowing selfish people to suffer the consequences of their own choices.